Are you a parent who needs support for being your child's teacher? Do you need some encouragement as you facilitate your child's learning at home and everywhere else? Or maybe you just need to take a break and connect with fellow parents? If your answer is yes, then join us on the Educating for Life show. Join us, Mariel Paulino, Michelle Padrelanan, San Unson, and Tina Rodriguez, the homeschooling moms behind the Philippine Homeschool Convention and online events like the Connect Homeschooling and Intentional Parenting Summit, as we share about different topics related to home-based education and everything in between. Watch our episodes on our Facebook page, Events by EFL, and on our YouTube channel. We hope that you'll join us because Educating for Life is all about supporting families and valuing education. See you there!
Hello, and good evening. Welcome to the Educating for Life show, where we support families and value education. Good evening to all, and as you know, our topic for today is how to manage anxieties in the homeschooling family. Of course, this is not just for homeschooling families, it's for any family and even for those who are still single. They don't have you if you don't have children yet, you're still welcome to join us and learn ways or tips how you can manage your own anxieties. With us tonight is our special guest. Her name is Marinella Paulino, or Mariel as we all like to call her. Mariel is a licensed psychologist with the Halcyon Mental Health. She was also formerly a professor of Southville International College. I love hearing Marielle talk about stress and boundaries. So, without further ado, friends, let's all welcome Marielle Paulino.
Hello and good evening. Thanks for having me today.
Hello, Marielle. Welcome to the Educating for Life show. And first of all, I'd like to thank you, Marielle, for agreeing to be our guest for tonight. I thought that you'd be the best person to invite here as we talk about the anxieties that we feel as homeschooling families.
Yeah, this is exciting and yes, indeed.
Okay, feel free for our audience for tonight. Feel free to ask your questions or share your feedback in the comment section. Just make sure to what you call that you have to agree put to for your name to be used so that when we post your questions later we can see your names. I hope we already have some people here. Oh, we have an audience of 10. Not bad. Thank you. O, naging 8 na lang siya. Actually, I would also like to thank Tina Rodriguez, who is helping us out right now, and also the Asian Parent, our media sponsor. We are also showing on their page, also, Marielle. Okay, so let's get right down to the topic. Alam mo, Marielle, kaming mga homeschooling families, marami kaming na-experience na stress. Siguro naman, anybody naman na mga families na meron talagang na-experience na stress, normal naman siya. Pero you add to the mix pa the fact that we're homeschooling our children, hindi talaga kasi siya madali. So, examples of the stresses that we feel, eto, even pre-pandemic, nandyan na siya. You know, we have these thoughts that go on in our mind
Yeah.
as homeschooling parents. For example, we always question ourselves: Are we
Mm,
doing enough for our children, or
mm,
baka we are doing a disservice for our children? Or this thing, it's common. We're so afraid that we might be damaging our children because we're doing something that is not traditional. Nakakatakot. Even if we've already started to go down that path, nakakatakot pa rin kasi hindi namin alam yung magiging result nito eh. And then, of
yeah.
course, nandyan din yung, some of us have sacrificed career opportunities.
Mm, mm,
We juggle multiple roles. So that's common sa lahat naman ng parents. We all juggle multiple roles. Even sa inyo na hindi parents, common din siya. And then, nung nag-pandemic naman, Mariel, parang mas lumaki. And I know this is true of everybody, or most of us, na the family issues have just been magnified during the pandemic because we're all just staying at home. Ayun. And then also other issues that we're facing, the fear of COVID, definitely. And then we have discovered nga that even our children,
mm,
even if we don't talk to them about what's happening about COVID,
mm,
because nakikita nila sa amin kung ano mga, o naririnig nila na pinag-uusapan namin to, nagkaroon na rin talaga sila ng talagang takot. Takot na
yeah.
takot din sila na baka kami rin magkasakit. Ayun. So, that's what we're going to talk about tonight,
Yeah.
Mariel. Yeah,
Well,
okay.
there's just so much, to really put in there. And you mentioned, as a homeschooling parent, it's just there's already so much um, that you guys, do for your kids, and I the dedication is inspiring, and it's definitely normal, right, to have those moments of self-doubt. But i
Mm,
think i think the fact that you're even entertaining those kinds of thoughts, like
mhm.
just the fact that you're aware of it, like, am I doing this, it shows that you care, so it's something, right, compared to being neglectful otherwise. So yeah. I guess, yeah, we can just acknowledge that and just be kind to ourselves, right?
That's really such a nice thing to say, Marielle.
Yeah,
You said that since we are entertaining those thoughts, it shows that we care for
yeah,
our children in the first place. Oh, that's okay. That's another way of looking at it, ano?
right?
Kesa parang negative siya na nakakatakot na ako. What am I doing? Usually ganun eh. Naku, baka
Right.
I'm damaging my child. I'm like this, like that. But really,
Yeah,
what it signifies is that we care for our kids. Oh, I hope the parents watching now are encouraged by that.
yeah, yeah.
Oo,
And
oo, yeah. So, and then nung other areas of concern ay yun ngang mga kids who are meron naman kasi mas maraming families ang hindi nag-homeschool but they are online learning. So,
yes.
ang bigat din for them that they're
Oh, yeah.
learning online tapos
Mhm.
pati tayo mga adults napagod na tayo sa kaka-Zoom meetings natin, 'di ba?
Yeah,
So, parang it's patong-patong na stresses na nangyayari sa buhay
exactly.
natin. Oo. And
Yes.
ano bang when all these things are happening to us,
Mm-mm.
ano-ano ba yung mga nangyayari sa atin? What
Yeah,
are the signs and symptoms kaya that we should
yeah.
be aware
So,
of? Oo.
right. So definitely, it's all about stress, right? And first of all, I guess we can establish first what stress is, right? And it's basically that because it's subjective, right? It's that personal assessment of whether you can handle the kind of pressure that you're facing. You know, if you have enough resources to manage that, right? And knowing that our situation right now is just so much happening. It's very different from what we're so used to.
Mhm.
We are definitely reacting. We're finding ourselves reacting in probably surprising and in different ways. And I also would like to normalize that whatever we are experiencing in the face of this uh, chaos and uncertainty, that is totally normal. Okay, it's basically our body's way of just trying to deal with it. Yeah. So it's
Oh, another good thing to know na
yeah.
normal lang pala yung nararamdaman namin.
Yes, yes.
Or in fact natin lahat, ano?
Yeah, yeah. You know, again, it's a biological response. We are built for survival and resilience, don't forget. Okay? So
Hmm.
when we come across, challenges and whatnot, it's our body's way of stepping up to meet those challenges. So it's normal. It's normal to be stressed. Yeah. It just gets
Tama.
difficult when our stress responses just last too long. We're not meant to be in a stressed state for a long time. We're supposed to sort of get down and get into a calm state. But things are different, right? We're in this pandemic, so it's like every day we're always kind of in that state of worry and anxiety, right? So that's, I guess, that's the part where the burnout comes in, the exhaustion, and all that. Yeah.
I can relate to what you're saying kasi
Yeah.
especially even during the start, especially when the pandemic started. It's like
Oh yeah.
every day I'm in a state of ano ba? Parang survival mode nga na
Yes.
oh what do I have to do? I have to oh I have to buy groceries. I have to get ready. Ang
Yes.
dami talaga ginagawa. Oh
Exactly.
my gosh, and then okay, I have to get more gadgets. Kasi even if we're homeschooling, right?
Mm-mm.
It's not even if we're doing that, ang dami pa rin naman activities ng mga kids ko na eventually we found ourselves needing more tools that we can
Mm.
use. Kasi for example ngayon,
Mhm.
sabay-sabay kaming meron
Yes.
kaming mga online meeting. So I need more gadgets or whatever. Ang dami talagang so and the fact na it's just continuing.
Yes.
Talagang dagdag lang sa stress.
Yeah.
Kanina you mentioned um, yung pala palagi kang nandun sa state of stress.
Yes.
And how do you know na palagi kang gano'n? What are the signs and symptoms na, okay, parang lagi kang nasa state of stress? And you said it's not good for us to always be in that state. How do you know that
Yes.
you're like that na?
Okay. So try to imagine, a house with like everything that's turned on. All the lights are on, aircon is on full blast, faucets are on, everything is just there, right?
Mhm.
And we're sort of kind of, yeah, in the say that's where it gets exhausting, right? So it comes out differently for each of us. Sometimes we might find ourselves, very irritable, right? Just ready to
Mm.
get into a fight, ready to get into an argument, right? Any kind of small mistake or whatever, and we just snap like it's such a big deal, right? So we might find ourselves on that side of the spectrum,
Mm.
yeah. And for others, we might find ourselves just shutting down. We slow down. We just want to stay in bed. We don't want to get up anymore. Don't want to clean ourselves. Like it's not worth taking a bath, and I don't want to maybe feed myself, right?
Talaga?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's happening.
mommies, yung mga mommies diyan na bigla na lang napapasigaw o bigla na lang, nagsa-snap dahil sa galit. Gosh,
Yeah.
ano pala yun, stress response natin yun kaya tayo nagkakagano'n. Tama tama ba, Mariel?
Yes, yes. And, as we move forward with this discussion, let's do this without judgment. If we find ourselves, oh my goodness, yes, I am an irritable person,
Oh
let's not look
gosh.
at ourselves with shame. That's, again, it's normal. And self-awareness, that's part of it. Yeah. So when we start knowing our stress
Hmm.
responses, we'll find ways to manage it better. Yeah. So again, no need for shame and to be embarrassed about it. Okay.
Naku, naano
Mhm.
naman ako do'n, parang that was very comforting what you said, Mariel. Na
Right. Yeah.
'wag natin let's not judge ourselves if we find ourselves talaga in that situation, or you're realizing now na ganyan ka nga, it's a normal stress response. And then let us be kind to ourselves. Oh, that's nice. Mommies and daddies, be kind to yourselves. Hindi talaga tayo wala talaga tayo sa normal na sitwasyon ngayon.
Yeah, exactly. And parenting is such a big thing. I think you guys can credit yourselves. You were doing your best, and sometimes your best is not 100%. It doesn't have to be 100%. On some days it's 75, other days it's 50, and that's okay. It's still something.
Thank you, Marielle. That's funny
Yeah,
because at times I actually really tell my children that when I'm
yeah,
feeling so tired and they want my attention, I will really tell them, kids, really, I'm not 100% today. I'm really just 50%. I
yeah,
can't right now. I have to rest.
yeah.
So I guess
Mm-mm.
that's a good thing to learn, to tell your kids. You mentioned about being self-aware kanina.
Yeah, yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
usually
Like
we're
what?
not aware, of our
Mhm.
stress responses.
That's true. That's true. We tend to be reactive, like it just happens, right? And then we just move on to the
Mm-hmm.
next thing. No, it it,
Mm-hmm.
it helps to just pause and reflect. So like what you said, to your kids, like mom's not 100% right now. That's a good practice because we're acknowledging that I'm not okay right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll
Mm-hmm.
manage. And being able
Hmm.
to talk like that so freely with your kids, that teaches them that they can do the same as well. So that creates an environment of safety within the household.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's something new, Marielle. An
Yeah.
environment of safety within the household. Okay, so what I'm getting from you is that it's good to acknowledge our
Yes.
feelings, whether it's whatever it is, whatever we're feeling. So I'm not gonna say it's good or bad kasi nga, wag tayong maging judgmental sa feelings natin. It's good,
Yes.
and it's also a good practice to acknowledge it even to our kids, ano? Kasi nga role
Yes.
model nila tayo, para matuto rin sila to acknowledge their own feelings. That's nice. Thank you, Marielle, for saying that.
Yes, exactly. And this could be a cultural thing, but when it comes to our emotional intelligence, we may not really be up there. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely, again, it's good to start with the self. It's good to start at home, just to improve our emotional vocabulary, just to say how, like, wow, right now I'm actually scared. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and to at least end it with a positive saying, I may be scared right now, but I'll manage, I'll be okay.
But Marielle, some people feel parang they should not acknowledge it kasi it sort of invalidates them or makes them more vulnerable to it. Ano ba? Di,
Yeah,
or paano ba yan?
that's true. We have to be honest. um, to get in touch with our emotions, it can be scary and it can be uncomfortable, and
Mm-hmm.
especially for some or most of us who maybe previously lived in a household where we're not supposed to express ourselves. How can I
Mm-hmm.
model this to my kids now, right? So it's really a practice to just acknowledge and just to tell ourselves that whatever emotions we're feeling, as uncomfortable as they may be, they're neither good or bad. So we can honor, that's another word, we can honor the importance of what we're feeling. And just
Wow.
being able, yeah, right, just being able to verbalize it doesn't have to be in front of your kids yet, but being able to say it out loud, our ears hear it, it registers in the brain. We feel a bit relieved. It's like, wow, yeah, that is how I'm feeling. I don't have to play pretend. We can start with the self first. Does that make
Wow.
sense?
Yeah, it does. Na-amaze nga ako. So,
Yeah,
you said that just to be able to acknowledge ourselves, just to be able to verbalize it and our ears
yeah,
hear it and it
yeah,
connects to our brains,
yeah.
that's actually the start of ano, right? Parang it's the start of relief, no?
Yes. Mhm.
Kasi ako rin na-experience ko before na I have these strange feelings, but
Mm.
I can't
Mm-mm.
name it. I can't describe it, you know. And then
Yeah.
suddenly my sister, who we both know, she described the feeling for me. So she gave it a name.
Yes.
Once
Yes.
she's given it a name, then I really felt validated and relieved na, uy, meron palang name tong feeling na to. May nagsabing I agree to acknowledge it. So that's the first thing, we acknowledge our feelings without any judgment, ano. Well,
Yes. Yes.
it's really just feelings, and
Right.
it's a
Yeah.
part of us. Oh, thank you, Marielle, for saying that. Now, Marielle, I want to know, how can you know if it's already too much for any member of your family? For example, what are the symptoms that you can look out for as a mother, as a wife, or even as a parent? For example, if your spouse is already, how do you know if your spouse is already carrying so much
Mm.
anxiety na baka na-overwhelm na siya, hindi niya na kaya? Or even your kids, how will you know na too much na for your child, whatever it is that she's also feeling, he or she is feeling?
Right. That's another good question. So basically, any drastic changes in behavior or any changes you see, whether it's with your kid or with members of the household. So this can be, weight gain, or weight loss, right? Excessive eating or starving, like you're not eating anymore.
Mm.
Excessive sleeping or no sleep at all, right?
Mm.
Because we all have our own quirks and normal ways of responding, but if it reaches to like the extreme ends of the spectrum, that
Mhm.
can be a cause for concern. If you notice your kids more clingy than usual. That could be that's information, right? It could mean something, right? If if the anger outbursts are more frequent, that could also mean something. Yeah. Again, we just look with curiosity. Okay, we don't ask, hey, what's wrong with you?
Mm.
But we can say, hey, I noticed that this has been happening. Would you like to talk about it? Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's sort of you know not putting the judgment in there because we are concerned, right?
Ah.
So again, yeah,
Okay. That's very gentle actually to say it that
yeah,
way. I noticed that this has been happening. So, paano kaya? For example, sa asawa ko, I will say,
right,
honey, I noticed that you've been sad recently.
yeah, or
Anything you want to talk about? Pwede, okay
yeah.
ba yung ganon?
We can be like a bit unsure. We can say like it. I noticed you look kind of sad, or you seem sad lately. Yeah,
Ah, not yung ano, not din yung
like
padiretso
direct.
na,
Yeah,
"Oy, may lungkot ka." Hindi gano'n.
right. Yeah,
Kasi we cannot tell. You just
mm-mm.
seem you just seem
Yeah,
sad, ganyan. Okay. Uy, that's a nice tip, mommies and daddies, ha. Even sa mga kids, we
yeah,
also say it that way.
yeah.
Anak, why do you look sad today? Or, ano, tama ba yun? Anak, you seem sad to me today.
Yeah, it seems like you've been looking kind of sad, or I noticed that we've been withdrawing or not doing your usual things.
Ah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Bakit?
it's basically observations.
Anong difference? For example, pag sinabi ko lang sa anak ko, "Oy anak, anak, alam mo, bakit ka tulog ng tulog?" Sa
Right?
anong
Yeah,
anong difference if I just say that, "Bakit ka tulog ng tulog?" Or
yeah,
parang ano sa pagpakinig din ano, pero ano,
yeah. Right.
oo.
As you're saying it, there's like this. Like, wait a minute. It sounds like there's something up there, right? When we
Parang
ask why, yeah,
aha.
the why or the bakit, right? That immediately becomes, it almost sounds accusatory, or it's like you're really trying to get something. Like it sounds, that's where the judgment comes in. Why are you so like why are you like this, right? Why is there why is this going on? Why is there something wrong with you? When you put the why in there, it adds something. It adds something to it, doesn't it? Compared to like, hey, I noticed this has been going on. Like, what might be causing this? So instead of why, we can do the what. Or
Oh.
where is this coming from? It's like counseling already. But but yeah, just changing a few words, it can already um, change the sound, right, of the questioning.
Ang galing naman. Na-gets niyo ba yon mga mommies and daddies? 'Pag nagtatanong daw tayo, wag tayong magtanong ng why. Kasi parang when you ask why or bakit, parang may judgment pa siyang kasama, no? Parang may implied, tama ba? May implied.
Right. Yes,
And,
there's an implication there.
and I think if you ask nga why, it also puts the other person on a defensive mode, right?
Yes. Yes.
So,
Exactly.
baka instead of may makuha ka, mag-close down pa siya or mainis pa siya, tanungin ka rin niya, "Ba't ka pa tanong ng tanong?"
Right.
Gano'n. Oo, pero if you say something like, "Anak napansin ko, parang ang haba ng tulog mo
Mm. Mm. Mm.
kahapon hanggang ngayon. Ngayon kakagising mo lang.
Mm.
Kamusta ka na ba?" Is that better? Is that a
Yeah,
better
you
way
can.
to
It's okay to have those check-ins. Yeah. Really simple, like, hey, how are you doing? You can make it like a family thing, just to check in with each other, right?
Oh, that's nice, ha? May
Yeah,
check-in pa.
yeah,
I remember during kasi po kami ni Mariel, we conduct psychological first aid trainings. And Marielle, before she starts with her lectures, she always has this slide na check-in slide. How are you feeling today? Tapos meron siyang yung parang ruler, di ba?
Yeah, a scale.
Like a scale na how are you feeling today? So, it makes you, tinuturuan niya kami paano kami maging self-aware. Tama ba, Marielle?
Yeah, yeah, you got it.
Uh,
Sometimes we're not really sure how stressed
yeah.
we are or how we're feeling, but to put a number, it can help from from 1 to 10, a scale to that, or like in percentage. Like I'm not 100%, maybe I'm like 80 right now. That's something compared to just feeling all of this and not having a word for it. Yeah.
I think that's a great strategy to use with our children especially, no?
Yeah. Yes.
Kasi hindi naman talaga kayang ma-verbalize ng mga kids kung ano talaga yung nararamdaman nila eh. Pero if you
Yes.
probably have something visual, like, or
Yes.
if you put mga emojis, I think you can just, parents, you can just do this at home. Na parang may mga emojis lang na neutral or malungkot or nakasmile or happy,
Yes.
you can already get or makukuha mo na kung ano yung nararamdaman ng anak mo, no?
Yes, that's
That's nice.
another very good point, right? We acknowledge the fact that, children can feel so many things, but not really have the words, or they're not really equipped yet to have the
Oo.
words to say it. So to have those visual cues, or to even acknowledge that it might just not be one emoji, maybe it's a mix, right, of
Mhm,
two
mhm, mhm.
emojis. Just letting
Mm.
them express like that, that helps. That definitely helps.
And if we allow them to express themselves that way, I think that will also build up their self-esteem kasi we're acknowledging their feelings, no?
Yes,
That's a way
definitely.
also.
Yeah.
Okay. So, kanina, balik lang tayo dun sa mga signs and symptoms. Sabi mo, if
Yes.
it's yung symptoms are going the extreme already, yun yung parang kailangan mo na i-watch out for.
Yes.
So, and so, would you say na pag nakita mo ng extreme na yung symptoms, is that the time na probably you ask for professional help? Ganun ba?
Yes, it's okay. It's okay to seek professional help, just to just to be sure. It's kind of like, and we can also normalize this. Going to the doctors for a checkup, even if
Mm-mm.
you're like, even if it's not like a severe thing, right? We don't want to get there, right? So it's okay to if you suspect anything, it's okay to seek help already, just for a checkup, just to just to see how things are. Because again, prevention is better
Oh,
than
tama.
the cure, right?
An
Yeah.
ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Tama ka. And I
Right.
want to parang apply yung sinabi mo kanina eh, na kanina 'di ba sinabi mo na as parents, if you're thinking that way, that's a good thing kasi ibig sabihin you care. Pero I want to apply it dito sa if you're already, the fact that you're suspecting that there might be something wrong,
Yes.
'di ba? Then
Yeah.
that's probably the right time to ask to go seek professional help. Anyway, wala namang masama dun. Kasi
Right.
what if talagang nag-undergo ng depression, di ba?
Yes.
Oo. Eh, hindi naman tayo, ano, ako, si Mariel is a professional. Hindi naman ako professional para masabi ko lang na, ah, probably depressed siya, kaya ganyan. Parang ganun, di ba?
Right. Right.
Para kung kailangan na ng tulong. Okay. Thank you for
Yeah.
that, Mariel. Ah, can you explain to us this time when those things happen, what's happening to our bodies ba?
Mm.
What's
Mm-mm.
happening to our or to the brain or to our bodies when we're faced with so much stress?
Right. Right. So going back to the biology to it, right? So again, this is we have a built-in survival response, right? So definitely we are. It's part of how we perceive things. We're always looking out, for safety, Okay, that sort of it's an almost automatic response in us. We're always checking: Are we going? Am I safe right now? Right. So if we consider our situation, the pandemic, um, having to stay at home, all the stresses and pressures in there, there's a good chance that the mechanisms in our brain are sort of telling us, sounding the alarms, like, maybe you're not safe right now. Okay. Should I drop in the the A word? We have this small structure in the brain called the amygdala. Okay. And
Yes,
they're
please.
like almond shaped structures. I think we have two of them. We have a pair. And they're located by the base of the brain. And even if they are very small, again, this is in charge of scanning, you know, if things are safe right now. Okay. The moment it senses danger, it's going to just go off like, oh my goodness, it's dangerous. You have to do something for yourself. Okay. That's when, of course, the fight or flight system then activates. Okay. So this is so although we're not running away from wild animals anymore, it still sort of functions as if it is. Okay, so this is why we get the anger outbursts. This is why some families start doing the hoarding, right? They start the panic buying is there. We're fighting to get in line because we want to make sure we get these things. It's for my family,
Mm-hmm.
right? It goes back to survival. Okay, so of course, our body then produces that stress hormone, cortisol. You might have heard of it, right? That courses through our body just to help us get through that stressful moment, right? The adrenaline kicks in. That's why we find ourselves with the what is that, the palpitating hearts, the breathing kind of gets quicker. This is why our stomach, sometimes we get really bad stomach reactions, like, because we're not thinking about eating right now. Yeah. So again, it's just to mobilize, right, whatever energy we have to get us out of that danger. Okay, so that is why we
Mm.
either fight or flee things, right? But again, situation is in a modern setting, right? So uh, how do I say this? So
Walang ano,
yeah,
walang humahabol sa'tin na
e-
kunwari malaking hayop.
exactly,
Yung mga gano'n 'di
exactly,
ba, like
yeah,
before?
yeah. So it's still there. So even if, yeah, we're able to buy the toilet paper and the alcohol, it's with us. Sometimes we still have that left, and sometimes we are still up in that state, right?
Oo.
Sometimes we cannot find ourselves, calming down just yet. Okay, so that is where the other, what is this? That's where the other symptoms come in. This is probably why some
Ayan.
people have difficulty sleeping, at night,
Mm, mm.
or they just end up eating so much, or starving, or not even eating at all. Right? Because we're still in that survival mode. Right?
Survival, okay.
Yeah.
I like what you taught us before when you said the amygdala is like
Yeah. Should,
this small, and then 'di ba
mm-hmm.
yung gano'n? Can you
Yes, yes.
can
Shall we do
you
it
show
again?
yeah, please.
Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So again, the amygdala, tiny thing, right? So we put that inside our fists, okay? And then
Mm.
we can curl our fingers over it, okay? This curling of fingers, this represents the more logical part of our brain. So if you put your hand over your forehead, that's where it's located, okay? Another big word here, prefrontal cortex. Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Prefrontal cortex.
Yes,
This
that's in
one.
charge of higher order thinking. This is where we are able to make decisions. We prioritize things. We're able to make, yeah, choices. We're able to do things step by step. It's the more logical side of it, right? So
Mm.
again, we go back to this fist. When our amygdala is activated, okay, Just have your fingers splayed out. Boom. We are the thinking part of our brain is offline.
Wala na.
Yeah, we cannot
Goodbye
access
na.
that anymore. Yeah. All right. So this is why sometimes we say hurtful things. We don't even mean it, right? Because it was convenient at the time. I just have to say it. No, these bad things, right? Or maybe this is why, you end up just attacking someone. Right? You wouldn't do it in the right. That's why people say like I wasn't in the right mind when it was happening.
Oo.
It's because the prefrontal cortex was just not accessible at that time. Yeah. So
Ito
we
lang
basically
siya. So it's really just the amygdala who's telling you you're
what to
in
do.
danger.
Yeah.
You have to fight or you
Yeah.
have to flee, run away.
Yeah. Fight. Get out of there. Just do something. Yeah. Save
Oo.
yourself.
Save
Yeah.
yourself. Ganyan.
Whatever it takes.
Okay naman siya, di ba? It's
Yeah.
given to, the amygdala is a part of our brain created by God so that if there
Yes.
is danger, we will really, act
Yes.
to protect ourselves, to survive. Kaso lang,
Exactly.
the thing lang about it is that it's also activates at the first sign of stress.
Danger. Yeah.
Right? It feels attacked
Yes.
already. Kaya pagka ganyan na nag-umpisa na yung mga worries natin,
Yes.
ah, nag-alala ano kaya, ano ba pwedeng worries? Hala, I'm, baka, naku, sinabi niya, I'm damaging my child. Yan. Naku,
I like that. Mm-hmm.
I'm damaging my child, sabi niya.
Yeah.
Ano ba? Naku, naku, yung asawa ko nagalit sa akin kanina. O kaya,
Yes. Yes.
oh my gosh, my anak did not, ano bang ginagawa? Ginulo-gulo yung mga nilinis ko na. Hala, ayan
Yes.
na.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I heard in the news, mataas na naman pala ang ating COVID numbers. Ayan na.
There
So,
you go. Yeah.
na-expose na ngayon yung amygdala.
Yes.
Oo,
And then we
and
just go on autopilot. Like, oh no.
autopilot na. Oo, kung ano na
Yes.
lang. Ang,
Yes.
kasi this is the
Exactly.
one leading it already. No longer
Yes.
the thinking brain.
Yes. Yes. And again,
Mm.
it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that the kind of stress that we're experiencing now, we are still relatively safe. Like, it's we're not being chased by um, a predator, or
Mm.
hopefully right now we are not escaping from a flood. It's
Yeah,
more of
you're
like
right.
it's more of the things that are happening at home, and
Mm.
I'm worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, and that's valid too. Okay, it's just that when we find ourselves like this, we can also teach ourselves to be self-aware, like, oh my, I'm already at this point. I got to do something to get back to this, to get back to the thinking part of the brain.
So, pwede naman.
Yes, it's
Diba?
possible.
Pwede
Yeah.
naman. So, it's really normal. Now, it's normal na we
Yeah.
find ourselves at this point.
Yes.
Pero, pwede naman na bumalik tayo sa ganito para ma-activate ulit yung ating thinking brain. So,
Yes. Yes.
yes.
Exactly.
So, sino nagtatanong kung paano gagawin yun?
Yeah.
Hi! Tony is watching. Hello, Tony. Okay, so yun yung sabi
Oh,
ko kay.
there's Tony.
Hi, Tony. How are you? Yeah, actually, natutunan ko rin to kay Tony. Okay, so paano ngayon? And this is also applicable sa mga anak natin, ha? Yung mga pagka nag-aaway na sila, nagtatakot, yung magulo na sila.
Mm-mm.
Actually, it's their amygdala that's already working. And tsaka anyway, hindi pa talaga, ano pa nga, di ba, underdeveloped prefrontal cortex pa talaga ang
Yes,
mga
that's
bata. Yeah, and for your information, nagde-develop lang naman ang prefrontal cortex until mga, ano ba, mid-20s, right?
yeah. 25, 26. That's when the prefrontal cortex is fully formed. So
25, 26. Matanda ka na.
yeah.
Ibig sabihin, kaya nga pati kahit nga mga college, mga anak natin ay hindi pa sila laging nakakagawa ng tamang decision kasi nga
Right.
hindi pa naman fully formed ang kanilang prefrontal cortex. Okay.
Yes.
Tayo
Yeah.
rin na-experience natin yan. So, kailangan huwag nating husgahan ng mga anak natin or even ang sarili
Mhm.
natin. So,
Yes.
paano yun? Paano yun, Mariel? If you find yourself hopefully maging aware naman ng mga tao. So, hindi pa, sino nagsabi? Si San, sabi, hindi, 25 naman San eh.
Mhm.
O sige na nga, San, payag na nga ako. Okay, so pag umabot tayo sa point na ganito,
Mm-mm. Yes.
hopefully, we learn to become aware of our reactions. How do
Yes.
we then bring ourselves to the point na kaya natin uling i-close yung or bumalik yung ating thinking brain for the moment?
Yes. All right. So, so real quick, when it comes to anxiety,
Mhm.
right? Anxiety is a future-oriented. It sort of targets our future-oriented thinking, right? So it hasn't
Mm.
even happened yet. We're thinking of all these things. You can probably find yourself, how am I gonna pay the bills? How am I gonna provide for my family? What am I gonna do tomorrow? I got so much work. It's like the evening, but you're already thinking about the work for tomorrow and maybe for the rest of the week. Can you guys like imagine yourself
Yeah,
in that position, right?
all the
And
time.
all the time, right? So
Yeah.
when we're thinking of that, what happens to you? You hold
Sakit
your
na,
breath.
yeah, ang sakit na
Yeah,
ng ano ko, ng balikat ko,
right.
tapos
There's the
sumasakit na yung
tension.
tiyan ko, oo.
Yeah, it hasn't even
Ah,
happened yet, but the reactions are
oh,
real,
as
right?
if it's happening.
Exactly, exactly. And
Hmm.
um, when we catch ourselves like that, so it's just like this all over again, right? We need to bring ourselves back to the present, okay? And
Hmm.
the easiest way to do that is to just take a deep breath. So I invite you right now, let us all take a deep breath. Please join me as I inhale. So
Okay,
shall we?
sige. Let's all
Inhale,
take a deep breath.
then exhale. Ah, right.
Nakaka-relax,
Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you for breathing with me. So the idea is that we have to find ourselves back to the present because think about it. You cannot breathe in the future or in the past. You can only breathe right now. Okay.
Oh, that's new, Marielle. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Oh my goodness. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So the quickest way to engage with the present is to take a deep breath.
Totoo pala yung
Hmm.
sinasabi nila. You
Mm.
pause and take a deep breath. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. So you take a
Yeah.
deep breath, just give yourself that moment to pause, right? And you can start. You can start with becoming self-aware. You can ask yourself, do that check-in. What's happening to me right now? So again, we look at ourselves with no judgment, just curiosity. What am I feeling right now? What's going on? I'm thinking about all these scary things and what's happening. What's it making me feel, right? So I'm feeling the tension in my head, or I can feel that tightening in my shoulders. My stomach is uh, it's cramping up. It's okay just to be aware of all that. Okay, that's the first step, right?
Okay. The only way, sabi ni si Tina to, the only way to connect with the present is to breathe now. Ayan.
There you go. No judgment, but all curiosity. So let's just be curious, right? Let's see, yeah, what's going on? Okay. So it's not gonna solve your immediate problems, but just to engage with the present, it helps you get into that mindset where you are engaging again with the thinking part of your brain, and you'll be able to hopefully find that solution that you need. Okay, or at least it can bring yourself back to the reminder that, wow, what's that what's that meme that's going around in the country? What's that? Medyo advanced yung isip ko, like I'm thinking too
Mm-mm.
far into the future. Right
Mm-mm.
now, in my immediate space, I'm relatively safe. Okay, so it's kind of
Yeah.
reorienting. I'm relatively safe right now. Okay, what is it I can do? And then we sort of
That's
approach
nice,
it.
huh?
Yeah.
Biglang this image suddenly came to my mind na nakakatawa. Kasi for example, as a mother, I'm always thinking, okay, what's gonna happen tomorrow? What's gonna happen? Naku, baka maubusan na kami ng pagkain, kaya kailangan mag-grocery na ako ngayon, ganyan, ganyan. And
Right.
then, when I look in our pantry, let's say, when I look in our pantry, I see, ah, hindi pa naman pala kami mauubusan ng pagkain. Marami pa.
Exactly. Yeah. There
Pero
you
kasi,
go.
nag-advance
Mhm.
na nga yung thinking ko na, ay, baka maubusan. And it causes me stress, ano?
Yes. Yeah.
Unnecessary stress, actually, di ba?
Right. Yes. That's another thing. So even if that's the thing with our brains. So even if we
Yeah.
can call our brains logical, they can be really mean and scary sometimes,
How
especially when
so?
yeah, right. Especially when we're feeling, vulnerable and already tired. So this is why the overthinking happens right before we sleep, right? Right before we end our day, like all
Ah,
these scary
yeah.
thoughts start coming in, right? So I
Uh-huh.
like what you did, Michelle, when you said that, like, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna, how am I gonna feed my family? So that's the thought, right? That's the thought that's swimming around in your brain. But you
Yeah.
went ahead, you challenged it, and you said, really? Am I really not able to feed my family? I'm gonna go downstairs right now, check the pantry, see all the food there, and guess what, brain? This is the evidence. I still have enough to feed my family. That sort of makes sense. It's
So
okay to challenge your brain. Mhm.
galing.
Yeah,
You,
yeah,
you, you really question the thoughts in your
yes,
mind, ano?
yes,
You
yes.
question the thoughts in your mind.
Yeah,
Tama. Ang galing, ah.
right,
Ang
yeah.
galing! I hope our audience is learning a lot from what we're talking about right now. Do we have some questions? May questions ba? Ang galing, ang dami-dami
Right,
naming
yeah.
nakuha sa iyo ngayon, Mariel. Kahit na ako na years na ata akong tinuturuan ni Mariel. Ang dami ko nang natutunan sa kanya, pero ngayon ang dami pa niyang bagong tinuro. Ang galing.
Yeah, but you know what, like what you tell me, you've been doing it. We just happen to sort of put a name to this, so you
Ah,
can give yourself credit. The parents out there, you're probably also doing some of these things. You give yourself credit. You're
hmm.
you're doing something there. Yeah.
Okay. So, Tina, do we have some questions?
Looks like none so far.
Okay. Oh, okay. Last na lang pala. Pero parang nagawa na natin to eh.
Mm,
Yung
mm,
how
man.
about for men? How do they express kasi iba for women, di ba? We're really very expressive,
Mm,
no?
right,
Nagagalit
right,
tayo,
yes.
sumisigaw tayo, etc. But men are I think, speechy, and dami raw learnings. Okay, men are not expressive. Men
Right,
are
yeah,
not so expressive. So if we're concerned for the men in our lives, what do
yeah,
we watch out for? And you know, what
yeah.
do we watch out for?
Again,
Ah,
it's similar things, right? So any
yun,
any changes in behavior, and again,
changes.
it starts with us. We can start having that dialogue where we can talk about how we're feeling. If
Mm-hmm.
the feelings part is kind of scary, then at least start with, what are you noticing in yourself when this happens? It's like, oh yeah, I'm noticing my fists are just full of tension.
Yeah.
Yeah. right? So when that happens, you can try to channel it somewhere. I find I do have some clients, when it comes to anger, anger outbursts and management. I typically suggest that if they feel that energy, in your hands, you go ahead and grab, a towel and just twist it, you know. Just go ahead and try
Oh,
it. Yeah. Right?
oo
Instead of
nga 'no?
instead of breaking stuff, instead of hurting others, at least channel it in a non threatening way. If that's through twisting a towel. If you don't live in a condo, you can stomp your feet. That's fine. And of course, you breathe through it. So the breathing again is important, right? Yeah.
I
So it's
wanted yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
it's that idea of not necessarily being calm where you're all zen and whatnot, but we want to encourage more the idea of being connected with how you're feeling inside. And if that means just acknowledging that, wow, like I'm kind of shaking, or like my breathing is kind of uh, intense, we give ourselves the pause, okay? We acknowledge, we honor it. It's like, yeah, you know what? I think this might be because I'm scared. I'm going to take a few breaths because of it, and then I'm going to do what my body needs to do. Okay. So then that what is this? That allows several things again, such as allowing ourselves the authenticity, right? Just acknowledge how we're feeling,
Mhm.
the awareness of our body sensations, and that's part of self care, right? Fulfilling our needs, even if it means stretching, just a simple act of stretching, right? Or just shifting your weight in your chair. Yeah, just doing these
Hmm,
small adjustments, it can provide some relief already.
that's nice. So, sabi ni Peachy kanina, stress balls and fidget toys help, tama? Having a
Yes,
stress ball
exactly.
or
Yeah,
fidget toy helps, correct. And
that's true. Mm-mm.
also, ayun na nga, deep breathing. Yeah,
Yeah,
oo, talagang ang laki ng nagagawa.
yeah.
You know what, Marielle? Since I teach my children the deep breathing practice
Yeah.
also, ano, and
Mm-mm.
I noticed that it really helps a lot with like in particular, my son, at times talaga. There are times na medyo pag nag-aaway sila magkakapatid, hindi niya
Yeah,
na mapigilan yung sarili niya, iiyak na lang siya
yeah.
or nagwawala na siya sa galit. I would
Mm-mm.
really apply the breathing technique with him.
Yeah,
I will tell him, "Oh, anak, can we just have some time to breathe?" So,
yeah,
at that point, ano siya na, iyak siya ng iyak, galit na galit siya, talagang ano, ganyan. Can we just
yeah,
have some time to breathe? Tapos, sasabayan ko talaga siya, sige na anak, sabayan mo ako. Ginanon ko siya. So, okay,
yeah.
let's inhale, exhale. Mga
Mm-mm.
3 to 5 times, o biglang kakalma
Yeah,
siya.
right.
Nakikita ko talaga yung effect sa anak ko na ayun na nga, from this, gumaganon talaga, eh, bumabalik.
Yes,
Tapos dun ko pa lang talaga makakausap ng maayos yung, ah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, oo. And it's the same with my other whether, parents, wala namang pinagkaiba whether maliit yung anak mo or yung mga anak
Yes.
ko are older.
Yeah.
Pagka gano'n na sila at nakikita kong ayan na, umaandar na yung amygdala nila, I will encourage them to breathe. I'll breathe with them. Sige,
Yes. I love that you're doing that. That's called co-regulation.
oo, kasi
Breathe
ako rin
together.
'pag nakita ko kasi rin silang gano'n, nadi-dysregulate din ako, eh.
Exactly.
Oo,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
we're breathing together. So pareho kaming
Yes.
kumakalma.
Yeah. Right.
Ayan,
That's
yes.
the responsibility, right, of being the parents or being the older person in the family. We see the dysregulation, or we see the our loved ones at the height of their emotions, and we pick
Mhm.
that up. We pick that up sometimes. I think that's why we match them in arguments sometimes, right?
Oh,
So
I
when we
see.
right, so when we pick that up, we can regulate with them, so that we too can also get into that state of connectedness. Okay. So I like what that you're doing that. Like, hey, let's breathe together. Maybe let's shake it off and let's breathe together,
Mm-mm.
you and me, right? So you're modeling that for your kid, yeah. And
Yeah.
that just allows that teaches them self-regulation skills, and that they can do the same maybe for their friends or for their younger siblings too, or with you. Hopefully not, but yeah. Mm,
Correct. Oh, correct.
yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's about all that we have time for now. Mariel, any last words that you'd like to tell our audience?
Yeah, just thank you. And again, we're finding ourselves, we're still in a time of crisis and
Mm-mm.
uncertainty. So let's be kind. Let's be kind to ourselves. Yeah. No judgment. Let's stay curious. Always check in. Always go back. Go back to yourself. We trust. Try to start that trust in the self. Listen to what your body's telling you and what it needs to do, right? And just take care of yourself. I hope that makes sense. But there you go. Yeah, just go back to the self.
It does. It does. Oo nga eh. So, ayun.
Yeah.
I hope na marami kayong natutunan tonight. Yun ngang tinuro ni Mariel. Una, become aware of your body, what it's going through. Name it, acknowledge your emotions para ma-validate siya. And then, pause and take deep breaths. Yun lang naman, simple lang yun. Kaya nga, the way to calm or the way to peace is you
Yes.
pause and take deep breaths. Hi, Sigrid! Okay, so that's all we have for tonight. Thank you so much sa aming audience for tuning in and listening. I want to remind everybody to please follow Halcyon Mental Health on FB and IG. On IG, we are at Halcyon Mental Health. Mariel is a clinician along with her partners, Zenia Panahon and Tony D. You can message us there or help if you need professional help, as we were saying earlier. Also, please follow us here please follow Educating for Life at Events by EFL on FB and on IG. And we will see you again 2 weeks from now. Uh, next Friday, our next episode is how to make the holidays meaningful despite the Christmas rush. Ayan, masaya. Okay, masaya yung aming next episode. Please do join us on December 3 at 8:30 p.m. dito po sa Events by Educating for Life. Okay, thank you. See you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marielle, for sharing your time with us.
Glad to be here.